thanks for tuning in. Today I want to do a comparison video across the Birkin, Kelly, and Constance styles from Hermes. I know all three are really popular handbag styles. I'm fortunate enough to have all three in my collection currently. So I wanted to share an overview of each style, like the characteristics of each one and what I really like to use each one for, in hopes that it helps you figure out whether it fits your lifestyle, your use cases, and if one style is better for you than the other. If you're tuning in for the first time, hi, I'm Katie. I like to do these luxury fashion videos here on YouTube. I share hauls and reviews, but at the end of the day, I share my journey so we can all mindfully curate our own collections. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave a comment down below with your favorite handbag style from Hermes. All of your support really means a lot to me. I'm going to structure this video by each handbag style, so I will share an overview of the piece, the specifics of my handbag, and what I like to use it for. If I've had that piece for a while, I can share some highlights on wear and tear, and that way you can see like the whole flow as it pertains to one handbag versus it being like overview of Birkin, Kelly, Constance, what I like to use my Birkin, Kelly, Constance for, You guys definitely let me know if you have additional points you want to add, like things that you like using your handbags for, or if you have any questions in the comments down below. I'll start off with my Birkin. This is a Birkin 30 in the color Jaune Ambre. It's in Clemence leather with Palladium hardware. This I purchased in 2019, so I've had it for a couple of years now. And you can see that it is in a gorgeous yellow color. I don't know why, but this is making me think of Sesame Street right now. This color combination. This is the first of the three that I added to my collection. This is actually the second handbag that I got from the Hermes boutique. The first one is a Picotine 18, which is actually off to the side because there was not enough real estate to put everything up there. As you can see, this is a top handle carry style. The Birkin 30 is considered to be on the smaller scale of Birkin sizes. I believe they start at 25 and they go up to 40, maybe 45, but I think 40 is like the more common size you might see out and about. So the 30 is still on the lower side, if that makes sense. I think the 35 was the original size that the Birkin came out in. The 40, a lot of men like to use. I think there might be a 45, but then there's a 25, that's the smallest, that they typically make. I know they've made like minis before, or micros. I forgot what they called those, but those are like super, super rare, so I'm just talking about the typical handbags that are in production today. It's a top handle style with two handles on the top. You'll see I have twillies on mine. There is this like flap portion that closes the bag. To open it, you'd have to take your sangles out, take them out of the holding hardware. Every piece has a name, I just don't know the names for all of them. And then you flip your flap out and the bag opens. So then I have to readjust my twillies a little bit. What I like to do is actually put the flaps under the last kind of fold in the bag so that it's like all the way tucked away and not in the way, if that makes sense. So they're kind of tucked all the way in the back and there's no kind of interference that would really happen from the flap. I like to put my sangles back in their little hardware holder pieces. And that's typically how I like to carry my Birkin. I prefer to leave it open this way. It makes it a lot easier for me to access the things that I need from inside. And I do think the open structure gives it a lot more of a casual look. I still like to keep the sides of my Birkin a little tight, if that makes sense. There are some folks who like to have it really open where it's a bit expanded out here on the sides as well. I don't like that look as much. I still prefer the the more slim profile from the sides. So I will usually tighten this back up with the sangles instead of letting it be as open as it can be. That's just my personal preference. I've had this for a couple of years now, and when I first got it, I was a little concerned that I might be annoyed with it being top handle only. But turns out, after I got my Picotin, I found out that I don't mind a top handle only bag. In general, I actually was surprised that I'm not that bothered by having a top handle only bag. Usually when I'm walking, I will carry it in my hand like this. And then when I'm browsing, or sometimes I'm ordering something and I need my hands a little bit more, then I'll just quickly put it on the crook of my arm and I will do whatever I need to do and then sort of put it back in my hand and carry it like this. I find the Birkin to be a more casual style and a much more everyday bag. I love that you can leave it open. I love you have easy access to the things that you need. You can go in and out like no problem. This is pretty much the only motion you need to do to be able to get into the actual handbag. So that's what I love the most about the Birkin style, is the ease of access, the ease of use that it has. I also love how it looks. I consider this to be a casual bag out of the three, but it doesn't mean that it's like sloppy looking, you know what I mean? It still has a beautiful shape and structure to it. It does have a bit of elegance to it, I think, with the top handles, but it still is a bit more playful in a way, and it can be a bit more casual that way. And because my bag is in Clemence leather, it is in a softer leather, which means, as you can see, there is a little bit of effects of gravity, I call it, on the bag. And I think as that happens, it sort of gives the bag even more of that kind of casual, everyday look to it versus it being super rigid and structured. So that's my Birkin 30. Next, I want to talk about my Kelly. This is actually the newest addition to my collection, the most recent purchase. And if you haven't seen that haul video, I will link it up above because there are a lot of goodies that I was able to get from my recent trip to Hawaii. This specific Kelly that I have is the Kelly Touch 25. It's in the color Noir with gold hardware. It's in Madame leather in the body, and it has Nilo croc on the handle, the sangles, and the clochette, as you can see. Mine is also specifically the Sellier, so the edges are out and they're not turned in. So for example, my Birkin is a retourné where you can see that the edges are actually turned in. If you sew, the best analogy that I can give, if that doesn't make sense, is if you sew or if you quilt or anything like that, you know how they tell you to put the wrong sides together, you make your seam, you sew down, and then you flip it inside out for your garment? It's the same thing. Retourné is when you flip it out, and Sellier is when you don't flip it out. So you would want to put your wrong sides together, put your stitch, and then you have to finish the edge. I hope that makes sense. That's like the best way I organized it in my own brain. Anyway, the Kelly style is a single top handle, but it also comes with a strap, as you can see. This is the, how do I say, like standard strap that the Kelly comes with. To open this bag, you have to also take the sangles out. And then you will flip open the flap here, and then you directly get into your bag. There's the one handle and the one flap. I don't see myself tucking this flap in to leave the bag open, if that makes sense, because there isn't another handle that can hold onto the front. So a lot of people like to carry their bags kind of open like this. I don't prefer that. I don't like that look as much. I know a lot of people also will carry their Kellys where they leave their sangles underneath the flap and they will close it so they'll just close the flap to get in and out of their bag. I love the look of this. I don't mind this look at all, but because I do have a Kelly touch and the touch is on the sangles, there's a part of me that likes to showcase the sangles. So for me personally, I will do up the whole bag pretty much, which means I will take my sangles out. I could also do the bag up like this, like basically not hook the sangles back into the main closure, but sometimes I think I'll do that, especially if I'm like on the go and I like just closed my bag. But honestly, I prefer it done all the way up. And so my preference is to carry it that way. Sorry, it's hard to like open and close your bag with one hand in the air. There we go. So I prefer to carry it this way, where it's done all the way up. And I will do a more dedicated what's in my bag and first impressions, where I can dive deeper into the specifics of this handbag, but that's the overview that I want to share for right now, so that you can see the main stylistic differences between the Birkin Kelly and Constance. In terms of what I like to use this bag for, I know it's the most recent addition I've had in my collection, but I've already been able to carry it a few times, and I find that I like this handbag the most when I want to add a slightly dressier element to my outfit. I think the Sellier style makes the bag look dressier. I think the silhouette itself, the fact that there's one top handle, I think gives it a much more dressy look. But there's that little twist because you do get the shoulder strap, which I would associate more with a casual bag. So I do like that the Kelly style mixes both of those. It gives you that really dressy look, but it gives you that ease of use and comfort from the strap that's detachable. So if you want to go like hyper dressy, you just take off the strap, you have no strap option, and you can just carry it like this. I will loop the strap right behind the bag so I can carry it like this. And sometimes I'll even take photographs like this. You can barely tell that the strap is on. And then when I'm on the go, I just go ahead and throw it on my shoulder and I'm hands-free. So even though it's a dressier silhouette, I do feel like the bag itself is very versatile. Might have a slight edge in versatility over the Birkin. Just the fact that you have so many options for how you could wear it. All of those different variations give the bag a slightly different look. So depending on you wanting to dress it up, you can go in that direction, and if you really want to dress it down, you have lots of options to be able to do that. I do have to say the opening is a little bit more tricky than the Birkin, because the Birkin you can pretty much leave open. I know you have that option for the Kelly too. I don't think this bag is structured in a way to support it to really be open, left open all the time. So my boyfriend jokes that this handbag is perfect for when I don't want to pay for anything. Because by the time I like open it up and grab my wallet, like someone else would have paid for it. So that's the ongoing joke with me and my boyfriend about this bag. But I really do think from a versatility standpoint, the Kelly has slight edge over the Birkin. So far I've carried it for like a nice evening, but I have also carried this really dressed down and actually wanted to add it to my outfit to give it slight edge, because I didn't want it to look super everyday and casual. Like this bag, when you wear it with a casual outfit, I feel like really gives it a little twist. It elevates your casual outfit. So yeah, so far that's what I love to use my Kelly for, and I really, really love having it in my collection. Last but not least is my Constance. So the specific Constance I have is the Constance 24. It is in Etain, color Etain, gris Etain, in Epsom leather with Palladium hardware. I purchased this last year, so it's 2019, 2020, 2021 pretty much are the purchase years for each style. I find this to actually be the pretty perfect day to night bag, the one that is big enough that it carries all of my essentials for the day. And if I immediately had to go to like a nice dinner or some sort of event even, I'd have no problem carrying this straight into that kind of setting. I think even more than the Kelly, because the Kelly that I have is still a little bit dressier. I either want to wear it with a really casual outfit for that kind of contrast, or I want to wear it with a dressy outfit for dressy evening. But I find it a little bit more difficult to be like you know what I mean? Like, it still leans a little bit more dressy. This one though, I think is pretty seamless. I think regardless of what color you got it in, and regardless of, you know what I mean? Like, I think even though it's a 24 size, which some folks might think is too large, I think it's perfect to just go straight into evening. Like, you don't have to stop by your home. You don't have to even think about changing. Like, whatever outfit you're wearing is like, you can carry this bag straight into the night. I also find the strap is, you're able to pull it long, but it's not long enough to be crossbody for me. See if I can show you real quick, but you'll see it sort of sits a little too high, I think, for my body frame. If I absolutely had to for some reason, like I'm happy I have the option to do this, but otherwise I think it sits a little too high on my body for me to really want to comfortably carry it crossbody. So my preference is to pull the straps and carry it this way. And I feel like this really makes it more of a shoulder carry handbag. I will sometimes carry it in the crook of my arm, again, if I'm walking or I feel like it's falling off my shoulder. But most of the time I will wear it like this, just on my shoulder. It fits really well. It fits really comfortably on my shoulder. And it's also a nice size where you can sort of hug it right under or right into kind of your armpit kind of cavity. And that's what helps make it feel really secure. What I like about these straps is that because they overlap on the top, it's very unlikely for the straps, like one side of the straps, to fall off your shoulder. I hope that makes sense. Like, if you think about like sometimes like the Chanel flaps, even the chain strap, like if you pull them up together to wear on your shoulder, because there's two straps that are parallel, sometimes one side can fall off. If you have like the Deauville or the Grand Shopping Tote, then you know, because there are two straps entirely separate, like when you put it on your shoulder, one side wants to fall off, and that drives me nuts. But it doesn't happen with this handbag because they sit one on top of the other. The fact that it has two compartments on the inside does make it a little bit easier to organize your things. I find for both the Birkin and the Kelly, because I don't use any sort of bag organizer, that's just a preference of mine. Everything sort of falls into the bag and then I have to find the items. But this one, the compartments on the inside make it a lot easier for me to put items in specific areas and know exactly where to find them. You guys know that I'm not a huge fan of this particular closure. At least on the 24 size, there are two sort of pressure point areas that you will need to push down to make sure it closes. The opening is really easy. You just kind of, you just flip it and it pops right out, and that's great. When you have to close the bag, it won't always fall right into place, especially if you have things in your bag and you're holding it open. Like, it'll come down, but it'll either hit or it'll like overshoot, you know what I mean? So you really have to like maneuver it, and then you have to hit both pressure points. See, it didn't actually lock on one side. It locked on this corner, on this left corner, but not on this right corner. And I have to hit it again. I consider this the finickiest opening. It just won't close as easily as you think it should. In terms of use, I like carrying this out for daily use, pretty much. It's a pretty everyday bag. And like I said, I really like to use it for those days where I know I'm going to be out and it will go straight into like a dinner or something like that. And I want to look nice throughout the whole day, and I want to look appropriate in all settings. I feel like this is a really great bag to do that. When I have a little bit more to carry than usual, like one or two extra things, this is a really great bag, because for me it's on the larger side of handbags that I have. typically carry a lot of mini bags, so this is like roomy for me, and I have space to add some extra things if I know I need to carry those throughout the day. But those are like the main use cases. Yeah, that's really what I like to use my Constance for. So that is my Birkin, Kelly, Constance comparison video. I hope you found it helpful. I wanted to be able to focus a little bit more on how I like to use each bag now that I have all three in my collection, and what I tend to gravitate towards for specific uses. If you have any other specific questions, feel free to leave them down below or head on over to Instagram and I'd be happy to help however I can. If you like this video and you found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of your feedback and support. If you like this kind of content and you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I post new fashion-related videos every Sunday and Wednesday. So until next time, bye!